My name is Yuri Vasin. I am an expert with the Positive Labs. It's a great pleasure to see all of you here today. I guess you all know me because I see lots of familiar faces in the room. I even have a metal processing device at home. Well, you probably don't know what the title actually means because PhD days fast is always a busy time, and I only prepared my PPT stack at the last moment. But I decided to share my interesting experience with you because last year at the previous fest we demonstrated the Cipollino stand to you. It's an in-house microcontroller to manipulate the power attacks. We use various interfaces to launch power attacks. However, it so happened, but this is one of our lines of activities, and simultaneously we research various microcontrollers and microprocessors. So we decided that all the STM32s available out there in the market could be pen tested. Let's see what happens to them. And a couple of years back, I was not an expert on this particular topic. I knew that there was such a thing as STM32, that it fails. Have you ever heard about power attacks? Please raise your hands. Great. Did you know that STM32s are susceptible to power attacks? Please raise your hand. And are all STM32s susceptible to power attacks, or just one of them, which is in the public domain? Any ideas on that? Right, so basically we decided to go over that particular research once again. Everything was ready, and all we needed was just various chips for the microcontrollers. And the first two rows, as I can see, are aware of what I'm talking about, while the rest of you are not. So let me give you some background information. The statement that STM32 is susceptible to glitch attacks, is something that reverse engineers share a view on. I will brief you on why they glitch and what particular forms of STMs. A glitch means susceptibility to power attacks, which means that you can render a microcontroller out of order if you use a power attacks. For instance, in STM32 you can affect both the hardware, for instance, when you attack at a level of RDP2. And this statement is quite debatable among more advanced users. You might say that this is not a hardware initiator because it's the root of the microchip which is attacked rather than the microcontroller itself. We can discuss it offline. The RDP2 in STM is the highest level of protection. You shut down the SVD access. You cannot debug the process. You cannot do anything if it's attacked. The second most popular level for attack is RDP1. When there is no access to the flash memory, you can do anything with the microchip. You can erase it. You can read the random access memory but you will not be able to read the flash memory. And for a couple of years, we've been extracting the firmware. And RDP2, for some reason, is a very seldom attack level to be attacked. RDP1 is more popular, and RDP1 is more complex in terms of power attacks. RDP2 is just one glitch when the processor starts up, and after that the SVD is activated, and then you try to attack the microcontroller at the RDP1 level. And that means not only do you need to switch on the processing unit, talk to it. We're talking about a firmware of 100 bytes, which means that you would need a brand new glitch for every single part. So it's that means that you need to come up with a new glitch for every 100 bytes. It takes too long, and when you glitch a microcontroller, you cannot actually control the way the microchip is going to behave. All you can do is hope. And that means that you might erase the microchip because in the bootloader it has handlers and command processors, and you can erase the entire chip by chance. There are other details that you have to take into account. You glitch the microchip, but it also affects the core and the microcontroller, and that means that you can extract some garbage from the memory, which means that you're going to have to erase the chip, and that means that you will lose the sample altogether if you come across it just once. So how do we attack STM32s? Usually, microcontrollers are power attacked by external links or the main power lines, for instance, flash controller power, or external power lines of 3 volts, for instance, could be attacked. And if you have an external condensers, just as is the case with STMs, the 1.2 power for the core can be found externally, and the flash controllers could be also power attacked, and it's quite popular among certain hack groups. The public STMs have power lines, core power lines externally. And another classical misconception is that you have to unweld the condensers to attack the core by the power lines. However, there is a small 100 nanofarads microcontroller, and without that you will not be able to establish the link with the microchip. The STM32 simplest attack is as follows. You just control the transistor linked to the core power line, and then you set the moment to attack the core. In this particular case, what we want to do is not a response, not the neck, but the ECK response. If there is a protection for the chip, you get a 1F byte by default if you want to talk to the bootloader. If the chip is unlocked, you get the 72 byte, which is the ECK response, and then you can get access to the data. If the chip is blocked, what you need to do is, before it sends a response, you can glitch the power, and if it's a success, which is shown by the blue curve, after a response, when you launch the power attack, the blocked chip sends the ACK response, and this is the end of the attack. However, let me share with you some background. STM32 bootloader is the software code which is attacked. It's a system memory. It could be called bootloader, or we never call it boot ROM, but this is the code which is built into the chip by default, and you can set the certain levels, power levels at the legs of the STM microcontroller, and if you there is a description for the bootloader, and you can use the UART, UITC, cache UINI, and USB to link to it. And there is the memory read command is the 11th command which is sent. Then you check whether the chip is blocked or not. If it's not, then you send the address, the size, and it sends you the response. And the arrows show the point of attack. So when the command is sent, you launch your power attack, regardless of the interface. Just a couple of screenshots to demonstrate the check cycle. The first block shows that you get a command from the UART. It bufferized. If it is the first command, yes, no. Second command and 11th command, yes or no. Just remember the sequence. After the 11th command is double-checked, you launch the attack. But it is preceded by the first and the second ones. Well, the power attack should be launched somewhere here. And now I really hope that it's clear to everyone what we're trying to crash. The bootloader check looks like this. It's the ACE function that checks whether I'm blocked. Then it looks like an entry from the registry, and it uses the mask to screen for a certain value. And in assembler, this code looks like this. So my question to you is as follows. Please raise your hand if you think that we are skipping some of the guidelines. Please raise your hand if you think otherwise. So I guess there's just a single opinion that you all share. So the C developer would say that the problem is in that line of the code, in that function, or in this particular line code, because this C developer would say that this is the problem. And in an assembler, you'll see that there are lots of guidelines, and if we glitch all of them, or if you don't, you will. The desired result would be for that function to give you a 1 or a 0 rather than a bunch of 5s. And, we don't miss the guidelines. We use a bit flip at the process decoder when the command is executed or when the command is checked, but we can discuss it offline. So basically, this is the desired result. You glitch it, you get a good response, and that means that this microcontroller is power attacked. What you can find online is info on attacks on F401 and 411. I also saw power attacks against microchip 207. Any other 103, this is the most popular. 205, 207 are the same thing. 300, did you find it online? If you did, just let me know where, because please get in touch with me, because I'm not sure about that. Any other ideas? Right, so these were the most popular microcontrollers of the 0 series, so it's 205 and 207. There are a couple of articles devoted to that, or you will find multiple publications on these microcontrollers. However, the world is slightly worse off as far as I'm concerned, because no one wants to glitch these microchips forever, because no one uses them. But I get I see devices based on 405 chips or 700 series microchips or L series chips, and there is no information on them whatsoever. These power attacks have existed for many years. The same holds true for these chips, and there are STM security, high security or encrypted boot chips. There are secure bootloaders built into these microchips, and I have no idea about the security features in STM microcontrollers, so it came as a surprise to me that they now have security security boots, but this is their documentation. These are different series of STM microchips, and well, I already asked you this question, but I guess there are just 3 researchers, but there are way more series of microchips. I have my own collection of bootloaders of all the STMs that I got my hands on. So I analyzed all the diagrams, and the very first thing that you see when you get a high series microchip, you see that there are 2 cores. Which one do you need to glitch? Do you need to disconnect them first? It's food for thought. Why did I decide to focus on that? I took a look at the bootloader of the 407 chip, and there are two-stage check. And then 2 weeks later, I told Alexei that there was just 1 check, and then it turned out that we had different versions of firmware and different bootloaders. So if you read through the docs first, you'll see that these are 2 different versions of bootloaders. So these are all the different versions of STMs, and each one of them has 1 to 4 different bootloaders. So it was a 407 series. One of them was glitched, while the another one had a two-stage check. You might say you can use a two-glitch attack. Why not? But in the 407 series, the test was way more complex. It's not just matching the flash memory reads. So in this particular case, it's way more complicated to glitch this particular microcontroller. And then it turned out, after a further analysis, that there were 4 internal checks, and 2 glitches were no longer enough. So this is the two-stage check in the assembler. The first one is carried out when the command is just received, and the second one is done when the command is being executed. As for different boot ROMs, I already mentioned that in certain checks were simple, certain checks were looked like this, and in a nutshell, this is it. Well, I was asked to extract firmware from one of the devices based on H723 series, but I also looked at the 430 series device. I had an idea of the STM market by then, and I read the boot ROM. I saw that there were 2 different checks at the beginning and at the end when the command is received and when it is executed, and quite some time passes between the 2. And it's a simple memory read check. This is the way it looks, and my idea was to use a double glitch to attack the system, because a single glitch features a lower probability, while a two-glitch attack is more complex. I'm not a big advocate of fuzzing, because if you glitch one STM for 6 months and it took the 3 of you, it can hardly be called a success. Though I did hear people say that. So it set me thinking, and I didn't want to go totally random. I didn't want to brute force it. I didn't want to send 2 different pulses at different points of time at a different band, and we could also vary the distance between them and the time frame between them. And the blue curve shows the 2 glitches, but since they are close together, the effects are different. The 2 glitchers do not mean that you will go through the 2 tests, because the power trough is smaller in the second case, because the power has no time to be restored if the 2 glitches are too close to each other. I see many familiar faces in the room. Any ideas on how to speed up this process? Well, as far as I understand, there is a function that could be used twice, right? So you just execute. No, these are 2 different functions, but they're in the same one if. So can you glitch the final test? You will never reach it, because you have to bypass the first one first. You have to. How do we speed up? I'm not talking about glitching the processes. How do we make sure that we don't brute force all of that? That's a good option, and that was the first thing that I told my students. Read the guidelines. Identify an approximate time frame, but there is a small detail that you have to take into account. We could identify the time frame between the first check and the second check. We could calculate the frequency, and we could calculate an approximate window between the 2. However, this STM microchip did not have the normal SPI, and we had to use the OR. And the hardware engine is asynchronous in its interface. Therefore, the the time frame of the processing is not always the same. Sometimes you get a response from the 12 microseconds and sometimes in 10 microseconds. So the question is, how do you calculate the time from this from the moment you send the request until the time of attack? Because it's not just about code anymore, it's also about hardware. But read the manual. RTFM is a good option. Any other ideas? Any other ideas of what to do to speed up the glitching process? The question is off the mic and cannot be translated. Right, so the best idea that we came up with, that was at the very end. There were multiple ideas. I probably forgot most of them. So anyway, I emulated the very same bootloader and I executed on the very same CPU by setting the same frequency. So it's an ARM manual. I copied and pasted it, and I knew what the time frame was and how much I had to wait, how long I had to wait from the reception until the glitch. Actually, it took me 2 nights to fine-tune, because initially I made a small mistake. Acquiring statistics is another idea. You know, you just switch it on, switch it off, and see what happens. Emulating a bootloader is not a good idea. Read the manuals. And another idea that we did not initially come up with, but it was a great one, we came up with it during the research. Don't try to glitch commands with 2 checks, but rather glitch the first or the second command, and it will help you. It will help you skip just the first check. So I started glitching the microchip, but then I saw some data coming in. It was not a response to the read only request. So the first and second command processors return you these figures 72.1.04, and you can use the very same glitch, a standard glitch, to provoke a response for command 11 as if it were the first command. So the slide clearly shows that it's a response to the second command. In combination, it took off the bootloader, was emulated, and we identified the exact time frame. It matched the real time in real life. And indeed, it was a success. I sent a request to memory access. I got 79 in response, so I received a data set, and STM of the 723rd series could be glitched. It was not a problem. It did not look like 407 series, because I had to rack my brains over the capacity, but the double glitch worked perfectly in that case. So it was, however, as soon as I changed the bootloader address to the flash memory address, the OART crashed, and previously you saw data set there, but the UART curve just crashed. So I started looking into it. I researched it, and it was a mistake of a newbie. I used the SVD link, and it turned out that you can debug this chip via this link. You can even debug a bootloader. You can strap it to the bootload. In the previous series of STMs, it was not possible, but I initially tried to take a look at what happened on my end, but then I realized that I could execute the code via the SVD strap. I would just enter the bootload, the flash memory, and the chip went into hard fault. I never saw that before in the microchips. The microchips would hard fault. So I talked to my guys and I said I told them that it was a very interesting thing. One of the bootloaders was well protected; it could not be read, and I thought that it was so cool that they protected the new series with a better level of protection, against glitches. And to a certain extent, that's exactly the case. The documentation for the RDP1 for 723 differs considerably from the one for the 407 series. The flash memory access is denied, not at the bootloader level. It's not just like it prevents you from reading the memory, but rather it's the hardware level, the hardware protection, because there is a separate bus that switches off. But then an acquaintance of mine comes and says, I have a microchip and it looks like this. The UART curve crashes after a successful glitch. And I go like, John, you probably use the flash memory address. Try to glitch the bootloader address. Sometime later he phones me and, it was a successful attempt. And I started comparing his microchip. It was also an STM microchip, but not of the H series or the 700 series. And I realized that the protection shown here is not protection per se, because the microchip shown here was manufactured in 2015 or 2020, and the one Johnny tried to glitch was manufactured back in 2013 or 2015, so it's an old one. And 401 series STMs are even older than the one that Johnny tried to glitch. Actually, so there are two branches of bootloaders. The first category can be debugged, but it's not the case for the flash memory, which is quite logical. While other STMs cannot be debugged in the bootloader mode, because there is no debug option, and it could look in different ways. And this is the end of this part of my presentation. So the message I want to drive home is that STMs are different. Not all of them can be glitched. This is something that I found out during the year of the review. Bootloaders can also be different, so read the manual, and security checks can also be different for different bootloaders. RDP checks are different, and every single new chip behaves in different ways, so you won't have to research it from the scratch. To sum up, well, actually, we also have the RDP2 check, and what happens with an STM32 chip when it comes in? Well, it is glitched, but RDP2 is about shutting down the SVD, right? So the comment is off the mic and cannot be translated. Any other ideas? How do we extract the firmware if it's an RDP2 chip? Well, another glitch via the boot ROM. Well, I had no time to prepare for that part, but I'm going to share with you an awesome secret I learned about STMs. You glitch the RDP, the SVD is activated, you still get access, and you start glitching the RDP1. If it's a success, that's a great job. job done, and then you do not reset the microchip because the RDP2 is maintained as if it were RDP1, and you follow the closed loop of RDP1 until the chip fails, and then you go through the sequence again. But it's too labor intensive. In the past, I used to do this until I managed, at least with some chips, to dump everything from RDP2 to RDP1 and then erase values in the RDP2 registry. And for certain chips, it was a success. It simplified the power attack. By the way, it works for 723 series. And you can save this value in the RDP1 forever. Well, it was not a success with all the microchips, I mean, saving this value. And not all the microchips can be glitched at the RDP2 level. I'm not 100% sure, but I was unable to glitch them via RDP2. Well, if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. But before you do that, I just want to say the following. EMFI or the power attacks, well, a chance of erasing a chip is quite high. If you launch a power attack, you might erase the entire chip. RDP1 check, goes through the sequence quite quickly, but the fourth series chip took me an entire night to read because I set the value for the first attack and I didn't go at random. I just set the value, the frequency, because as soon as the time frame is a bit longer, the chip would get erased. Not just because there was a command, but it was controlled by the flash memory. And the same holds true for the point of attack. As for the NFI, I'm not an expert on that, but I guess you will run into the very same problems. Well, you can also crash a part of the boot ROM. Are you sure about that? Are you sure that it was not the flash controller? The controller's address was erased, but RDP1 also failed because I was no longer able to erase anything in RDP1. Sometimes you don't get access to bootloader, and the RDP1 and RDP2 crashed, and you cannot erase the RDP1 either. I feel your pain. Any other questions? If you have any questions, please shoot. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your presentation. I have the following question. How come you advise we glitch the read command rather than the write command that would be following the erasing command? Well, this presentation focused on the read command, but you can also glitch the write command. There are two checks in this chip, and for any chips, there is one protection system for the read and one for the write commands. Back then we didn't want to do that. I tried to glitch the write commands at the earlier versions. I did not try to do with this version. Thank you. Good afternoon. Mike, I'm not an expert on glitching, and you talked about STM chips and microcontrollers. What if we try to glitch something more complicated, something like Cortex M4 or Cortex A series? Can you use these techniques? Well, not only is it possible, this is what the hackers do. And I believe that the power attacks focus primarily on the boot sequence. And, Intel chips are also power attacked. MediaTek chips are also susceptible. Qualcomm chips, Qualcomm mobile chips are also susceptible to power attacks. But you can protect a device against a power attack, and many STMs are well protected. For instance, the journey I mentioned got lucky because he targeted just one chip, and I targeted a chip that had no kernel access. And Johnny managed to attack the 3-volt power line while the chip kept on operating. While in my case, I came across chips that even if you bypass all the protections, they reset faster than you glitch them, than you're able to glitch them. So it's the power, incoming power is monitored at a chip level. If it goes down below a certain level, then it resets. You can use EFI analysis, or you can use a laser as the means of the last resort.
Да. Да, ну, типа EFM.
The short answer is yes. EFM, EFR 32 information is published. They are not well protected against glitches. As for STM-F4 is concerned, this chip is not positioned as a security chip. H7 was something that I wanted to share with you because, at the very least, this chip is positioned as a security chip, at least with a chip as a chip with security features. EFMs just have one built-in protection, but it's not a security chip. What about PIC 18? Well, don't use them, as was mentioned by one of the counterparts. They've been hacked for a very long time, and the techniques are very much the same. Thank you so much.
Еще кто-нибудь?
Any other questions from the floor? In that case, thank you so much for coming here for my presentation. You can get in touch with me. I'll be at the hardware hanging stand, or I'll be around. Thank you so much, and see you. Bye.